it's Thumper the Rabid Rabbit. Welcome to day 4 on Rabid Rabbit Farms. It's bright and early at 4 a.m. again. I say bright because the moon is up and actually seems to be illuminating things fairly well. Because the sun sure as shit ain't out yet. But things are looking good. Plot 45, where we inherited our soybean crop, that's ready to harvest. And so is the grass that we planted on 46 and 52. So we, in fact, will get to mow those and have 3 different plots, 44, 46, and 52, that we're going to all have mowed. We're going to have to windrow that and bale it. And we're going for silage with those crops because that is far more valuable than just grass. But to get started, we're going to take our inherited soybean crop here and see if we can't make some money off that. So we're going to have to grab our harvester and take care of the soybeans here first. I'm going to take a quick look at the grass field we cut yesterday. And look at that. Yes, it is in fact growing again, so that's nice. Don't need to reseed that, and it's still 100% fertilized. So that's already on its way to being cut again. I'm going to hop into our trusty cheap starter harvester here. But it's pretty and green, and it gets the job done. So that's what we need. Thankfully, we're starting out the day with a cool almost 97,000. And boy, are we going to use that today, because we're going to buy some equipment for our grass harvesting. I have mixed feelings about the greenhouses, so we'll see what we do with those today. I'm strongly considering changing them just to cell mode, so I don't have to deal with the logistics of carting away the products to market yet until we have more time and money to put into hauling pallets around. But for now, let's get to this harvest real quick. Well, as you can see, I've started to find my way around this map through shortcutting through other people's fields. Certainly as a shortcut to the train station here. After a rather protracted wait for the train to show up, it has arrived, and we will load up our soybean crop and see how much we can get out of that inherited crop. From a time perspective, things have gone rather quickly. It's only 4:15. Feels like playing this game at 1x speed is almost cheating, because it should take more than 15 minutes to harvest a field. Might have to bump that up and run at a higher time rate. Or just start a little later in the morning, because 4 a.m. seemed like a good idea before, but now since we don't get sun until after 6, I think I might sleep in a little bit longer here. Alright, so here goes our 2,743 liters of soybeans off the Goldcrest Valley. Let's see how much we get. 3,500. Well, it's not great, but it's not terrible. And it was inherited, so we kind of got it for free. Hey, look at this. What do we got here? Another toy. I haven't seen one of these yet. A cedar. Alright, another free grand. And I made a quick run back to the farm with the trailer. Dropped it off here, just parked it next to the fire station for now, and got myself hooked up to my mowing equipment again, because we've got ourselves those other 2 plots that we need to do some mowing on. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. We've got the small plot here next to where we just picked up our soybeans, and then our larger farm right next door to the house here. So I'm going to get those 2 mowed, and then once the mowing is done, I think I'm going to go ahead and just do this by hand, see how big of a mess I can make. Then it's going to be time to go shopping, because we're probably going to want to buy ourselves a windrower. We're going to get plenty of use out of that, and then we'll see how we're doing on money. Not sure if I want to buy the baler or just rent it for this first round. So I'll make up my mind after I'm done mowing these plots. Well, there was nothing pretty about that mowing job, was there? Kind of all over the place, but that's what happens when you're driving it by hand. It's okay, though, because I saved myself the added cost of labor, which is good. And actually, the AI bot won't mow around the edges of the field like I did there, so I know on the side here with the streets and on the edges where the property lines are, I got to be careful, because if you mow too far, you get onto the public land, and then you can't pick up the grass, and you just end up with permanent grass piles there. I ran into that on a test play, and also have seen plenty of other people get stuck with that. So I'm trying to be conscientious of not mowing too far outside the lines, but where that property is mine, down by my windmill there, I figured why not get a little bit more grass. So it's time to do a little shopping, and I want to get myself a windrower. The windrower is a device that gathers up all your grass into neat rows, so it's easier to pick up. Well, in my case with a baler, you can also pick stuff up with a foraging wagon if you're just going to keep your grass loose for later. But I'm going with not these expensive ones. I'm going to go with the cheap one. It's 8.4 meters wide, which is pretty good. And I can always go over it more than once in parallel paths to try and gather it up into less rows that are a little more dense. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this guy and hook up and head back. And we now have 3 fields that we need to windrow. And then I will come back and look at picking up that baler so that we can get started on our silage bales. Well, much like my mowing, my windrowing is not particularly pretty either, but I did go through the trouble of running back over it a few times to see if I could consolidate a few of those lighter rows of grass into some more dense rows. Figure it'll save me a little bit of time and energy driving the baler around. I'm going to rent the baler that I would like to ultimately buy. I'm not going to buy it today. I'm going to go ahead and just rent it or lease it for today. But it's fairly good size and does the silage bale wrapping all in one. It can do multiple sizes, so I really want to get this particular unit. But it is a little bit longer and bulkier of a trailer, so it's a little harder to maneuver around. So having less rows of grass to run over will be nicer in maneuvering this around. And you can see just a little bit beyond my budget, but the $5,000 lease cost for the day isn't terrible. So let's go ahead and get this and get on to some baling. And the downside of leasing the trailer, I just realized, is I lose out on my 600 extra liters of grass here that I picked up. If I owned it, then that would go towards the next bale from the next field I cut or mowed. But, 600 liters isn't that big of a deal. If it were a few thousand, I'd feel worse. But we'll turn this lease in. And then it's time to go grab the bale loader. And we're just going to load all these up and store them. I guess just leave them on the trailer. And wait till we have a better market price for selling our silage. So here's what happened. I filled my bale loader and had 3 bales left over. And I know why, because I used the small bale size, so I ended up with more of them. But I was figuring by having more smaller bales, I'd have less wasted grass left over in the baler, which I leased, which worked because I did only give up 600 liters at the end. So I'm still calling that a win. But it means I have 3 extra bales that I can't fit in the loader. So, rather than do something reasonable, I've decided to bring my small Zetor, I don't know how they pronounce that, the Major CL, my small tractor back here, and sell it. Repaired, painted, get some good money out of it. Because the next one up, the Proxima HS, is only a few $1,000s more. So is the Massey Ferguson, but they both can take the front loader attachment. So that's why I've brought my small tractor back to sell it and buy a new one, because I am buying a front loader attachment And I'm going to buy a front loader accessory, not the bale spike. I'm going to buy the pallet jack forks, or the pallet fork, because I'm 99% sure I can use that to spear those bales, and I can also use it for picking up the pallets that are next to my greenhouse, so I can actually start selling those things. So double win. So I'm going to buy this tractor, and then I'm going to go move those other 3 bales out of the way, hopefully, with that pallet fork. Well, that went a little faster than I expected. That sure is handy. That pallet fork is nice. We'll play around with that some more later. I was going to do some time lapse here of these next couple steps because I'm going to grab the cultivator and cultivate the field we harvested the soybeans from so we can turn this over and turn it to grass. So once cultivation is done, I'll grab the seeder, bring that over and run it over so we can get the grass seed down. Don't need to reseed the other grass fields, but we will fertilize everything. And I will also need to come back with the roller after this is seeded. But that should give us 4 planted, fertilized, ready to go grass fields, which it looks like are done in just a couple of months that we can cut them again. But since we're going into the winter months, I'm not sure we'll actually be able to cut this, especially if it's snowing. So yeah, I like it. So let me just run this out real quick, and that should take care of all of our owned farms for the day. Alright, with those fields all set, let's take a quick look at the greenhouses here. That's another owned property I need to make sure I take care of. Got a decent inventory on the lettuce cranking out there. Lots of strawberries. All the pallets are out there, plus we got 4,500 liters of strawberries in here already. That's nuts. I am not going to haul all these pallets away. But we do want to keep it growing. We're getting down to 1,800 liters. Let's refill this. I'm going to go grab the water truck, get these refilled, so that I don't accidentally have production stop on me while I'm doing contracts and other stuff. Alright, in the dictionary under bad ideas it says see me. Not only have I not sold anything from these greenhouses yet, I'm going to get rid of the garage because I can't do anything with it. I thought I'd be able to do like repair and other work over here, but apparently that doesn't work. So I'm just going to sell it, fill in the hole in the ground here, a little landscaping. And the plan here is to flatten this out. If I can remember what brushes to use. Gotta go a little hard brush, a little large brush. There we go. I didn't do a very good job of filling in the hole on the other farmhouse, so see if I can't do a better job of this one. Trying to make a nice flat patch here because I'm going to throw down some more greenhouses. Why not? But what I've decided to do is throw down a couple more greenhouses. I'm going to switch them all over to lettuce because that's the better money, lower output crop for moving around pallets and everything. But also because I am lazy, I think I'm going to just set them to sell automatically instead of storing. So what that does is as they produce output, it just sells them to market and takes a transport fee. The downside is you lose, I just looked this up. I want to say it's 30 something, 35%, I think it is. So you don't make as much money off of it, but you also don't have to go individually load a bunch of pallets onto a truck. I don't need to go buy a trailer or something to haul it to the store. So in the short term, I think that'll actually make me a little bit more money until I'm, if I got a bunch of fields in order and I'm bored and want to do this stuff by hand, I can certainly switch them back to storing whenever I want to, and then make an extra 30% or 35% by going and selling it by hand. But for now, I'm just going to go with volume. So I'm just going to throw a couple more down, and I'll have 4 greenhouses running. I'm going to set them all to sell automatically, and the only thing I manually need to do is go get the water. So I'm going to do that. I'll plop these down, then I'll go grab water and fill them up, and then we will have 4 greenhouses running and auto selling. So that's going to start bringing in some more revenue. So we'll have some automatic revenue from the greenhouses as well as the windmill, and hopefully that's some decent money, all for the price of just hauling in some water. All right, so from this point on, I'm working on contract work again. So this is just going to be time-lapsing out for the rest of the video here for the most part. But I wanted to show you the moment where I learned something and made a terrible assumption. This contract was very lucrative for mowing this big-ass field and silage wrapping all of these bales and bringing them to the animal dealer. And at the end of it, there were some extra bales, which was great because I was able to bring these extra bales and sell them and get money for myself. And of course, since the contract was to wrap them and sell the silage, that's what I did, and it sold for the value of silage. So these extra bales, you can see here, I was checking the value just to see, how much am I going to get for the several thousand liters of extra bales that I have. And it turned out selling for $7,500, which is what these bales would be worth for volume, like in liters, for silage. And it seemed weird at the time because I'm like, boy, I thought you had to let grass bales be wrapped for at least 24 hours to ferment before you could sell them as silage. But I had just cut and wrapped these, and they sold for the value of silage. I did not realize that when you're doing a contract, when you wrap quote-unquote silage bales for a contract, they are instantly silage the moment that you wrap them. They have no fermentation period. When you are cutting your own grass and baling your own grass and wrapping it for silage, you do have to wait 24 hours for it to ferment, or it sells for the price of grass instead of selling as silage because it isn't silage yet. This little fact totally bites me in the ass a little bit later. I'm going to time-lapse through a couple more steps of some contracts here, buy my own baling wrapping machine now that I've got the money, and work on another contract. And this assumption leads to a bad thing over at the biofuel, biomass, biogas plant on this next contract. So I'm going to time-lapse through the activity, but I'll stop when I make the mistake, or at least cut in and explain to you where I went totally wrong here. So let me move forward. Okay, so this is me driving my trailer full of my wrapped grass bales from my fields. This is my owned grass bales. These aren't silage yet because they haven't fermented. But because of my erroneous thinking from that contract that wrapping them somehow would make them silage instantly in certain circumstances, and not realizing that was just a contract thing, I have done another contract. I've wrapped a bunch of bales for that contract, and I want to use my trailer to go get them. So I figure, well, I'll just take my trailer full. If I don't have to wait, I'll dump them here at the biogas plant and make some money. So I bring my trailer over, and I dump these off. I was kind of expecting them to like disappear or sell instantly, unlike the animal plant. What's it fucking called? Animal dealer. The animal dealer will buy silage or grass. The biogas plant will only buy silage. This should have been my hint. When I dumped these off here, they didn't disappear. They didn't go away. They didn't get consumed slow or fast. So it should have been a huge hint that these do not belong here. Grass bales are not going to be consumed by the biogas plant. But I figured I'll just leave them here. Maybe I need to put them into the bin. Maybe I need to wait longer because I've seen notes that the biogas plant can get full and takes a while to consume stuff that you drop for it. So I just went on with my business. So I go and pick up all my silage bales from the contract, which are, they're wrapped in pink because I'm using the nice new silage bailing trailer that I bought with my $100,000. Thank you very much. And since the ones over by the bin there weren't being consumed, I thought, well, maybe I put them in the wrong place. So let's see if I dump them over here, if it'll pick them up over here. Like, I just thought, I don't know, maybe I'm putting them in the wrong damn place. Well, this is where you dump other stuff. I think this is like the slurry dump area, not the silage dump area. I didn't know that, so I dumped them here. And of course, I was then disappointed that nothing happened to them there. And so I came around and I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna use my trailer, pick up all of my white, silage bales that I had from my grass farm, and move on. So that's what I did. Just picked them all up. So then I go and get my front loader on my small tractor, thinking they need to be in the bin. And like a fucking genius, go and load them one at a time, which did get me to the end of the contract, but also for some reason made me think, yeah, my other bales must be silage, I just didn't put them in. But because I'm fucking lazy, I'm thinking, well, my white bales must be silage, but there's no way I'm loading those individually by hand into this biogas hopper thing, so I'll just take them to the animal dealer. Few dollars less, but way faster to just dump off the whole trailer and get all my silage money here in one shot. So checking it, I'm thinking grass is 85, silage is 300. I know how much money I should be getting out of this in the tens of thousands, so this will be a nice haul, and I'll be able to check and make sure I'm right here by the amount of money I make. You should see where this is going now. Boy, was I wrong. Literally looking at it, it's telling me it's grass. It says fermenting is 10%. I don't know why at this point I'm still thinking, geez, maybe 10% fermentation is enough for it to count as silage. I mean, the contract one sold as silage, so, certainly mine should sell for silage without waiting, you impatient, lazy bastard. So, I ballsed it. Dumped all those beautiful bales in and saw them popping up at a couple $100 a piece. Not even close. Those should have been worth thousands, not hundreds. Oof. Yeah. It did not sell the silage. It sold as grass. And I just lost out on basically about $20,000 in potential silage revenue by not waiting for the grass to fully ferment before dumping it here. This is the moment that I feel like an asshole, but hey, at least I got an empty trailer. So at this point, tuck my tail between my legs and just drive away, and went to go pick up the rest of the pink silage bales left over from the contract, which actually are silage. So I knew at least I'd be able to get a little bit of money from those. And yeah, that was a huge dumb move. So noted. you do have to wait 24 hours before you can sell silage as silage. You got to wait for the damn grass to ferment. When you look at the bale, it will actually say the word silage. It won't say grass fermenting and a percentage anymore. If you look at silage bales from contracts, they do actually say silage as soon as they are wrapped. Just a thing of the game. You don't have to wait 24 hours to finish a silage contract for that reason. So there's a benefit and a kind of a cheat there, but don't be fooled like I was and sell your grass early. That, I guess, is another good lesson for life. And not to get too discouraged by that failure, I went back to contracting. I got a hay contract, a plowing contract, and a sugar beet harvesting contract, which I used the tractor they provided along with my own trailer to do some tandem unloading so I could try to keep up with this machine. Always nice picking up an extra 5K from some extra soybeans there. And actually there was some left in the tractor that went to the train stop, so that got an extra 1,500. So along with that, a couple plowing and cultivating contracts and one more silage contract to finish out the day, which is what I'm turning in right here. Extra 1,500 off of that. And since we used the silage baler that we purchased, one of the vehicles that we purchased this day for, it's actually got like 85%, I think, grass in it. So that'll pay off next time when we're doing baling. So yeah, we spent a lot on vehicles today. Upgraded a tractor, got that silage baler. So a couple good long-term investments here. Got a little bit of money off of the property income from the wind turbine. The expense there was from putting down the greenhouses. So now we got 4 greenhouses that are auto selling. So not going to worry about those for now. But yeah, look at that extra bale income, even with my screw up of selling my grass instead of waiting for it to be silage. Got a lot off contracts, got a lot of extra off of harvest and our soybean harvest, and 90 grand in contract income. So despite all the extra expenses, we actually net went up almost $20,000 today. So that's a pretty good way to finish out November, also known as day 4. So we own 5 fields here. Number 30's got the wheat. The other 4 down here have the grass planted and growing. 2 of those we harvested today, and 1 we planted today. So those 2 purple 4652 will turn green tomorrow, I'm expecting. And we might be able to throw a little bit more fertilizer down on 45 tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. Be able to finish out that field in fertilizer. But we're also going into the snowy weather. So normally I would think we would have this grass ready to mow in a couple months. We can technically harvest it year round. But with snow in the forecast for the next few months, I'm not actually sure. We won't be able to mow in the snow. I know that. Things get messed up if you try to do that. But yeah, our wheat field, it's going to take all year. We'll be able to harvest that till July. Grass fields, maybe by January or February we'll have a clear day without snow and we can harvest. Maybe might have to wait until as far as March to get that grass again. We'll have to see. Can't plant it again till March, so I guess doesn't matter if we harvest it until February. But that's I think that's going to be the schedule. Hoping we can keep doing some contract work, maybe a little forestry work, finish cutting down, picking up those trees, so we might spend some of this money on some forestry technology. Nothing good on the used vehicle sale right now. Looks like our old tractor's there, so not going to buy that back, or a giant head unit for a harvester, so forget that. Yeah, we got a pretty darn good inventory going for our owned items now. Well, that'll just about do it then for day 4. Thank you for joining me on Rabid Rabbit Farms. Please come back and join me for day 5. Hopefully we'll get into some forestry work and lots of other trouble in the wintertime. That's it for now. Have a great evening.